Hi guys, it's Sherry. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. Y'all know what time it is. It is time to make something awesome. So again, before I get into today's craft, I want to speak to those of you who are watching this video and are not subscribed to my channel. I genuinely appreciate you giving me this time out of your busy day to check out this video. But you know what? Go ahead and hit subscribe because this channel does it right. We do some truly next level crafting, paper crafting like you've never seen it done before. Your time will not be wasted, and I would love to have you join my online crafting family. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button and join us. Just a little heads up, guys. I am not in my normal crafting studio today. I am on location, but I am not going to say where. I am just not in my normal spot, which means that I don't have all of the tools with me that you would normally see me working with. And that's okay, because on one of those tools, I am going to have to improvise, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But today's project is oh so stinking cute. It is truly next level crafting, guys, and it is simple. And I'm going to show you just how simple it is. And here is today's project. Isn't this just absolutely fabulous? I'm sure you probably see boxes like this in the store, or may have seen them in magazines or someplace and thought, you know, I'd love to have that, but I don't want to pay that price for that box. Well, the days of us buying boxes have been long over, because we can make boxes like this, and it is super duper easy. And that is the purpose of my channel, to simplify paper crafting, box making, bag making, and show you guys how we can do these wonderful projects with just a few pieces of paper and some chipboard. And that's all this is. This box measures 2 inches high, 2 inches deep, and 6 inches wide. And I am going to open it up because, again, I still have that Valentine feel going, but I'm going to dump this candy out so you guys can see this box on the inside. Isn't this just fabulous? Look at it. You've got all of this room, and you've got this wonderful, unique shape. And I am going to give someone that I'm very fond of this box, and it'll be filled with the chocolates, but I did not do it in the Valentine's themed paper because I want this box to be able to be used over and over. And I know that she's fond of green, so this box is perfect because it incorporates two of her favorite things, chocolates and the color green. Guys, let's get started on making this. So to make our project, we are going to need a piece of chipboard that measures 2 by 4, and I always use a medium weight. We are going to need 2 pieces that measure 2 by 1 7/8, and we will need 3 pieces that measure 2 by 6. And then for the papers that I've chosen, I have a piece that measures 2 by 3.5. I have a piece that measures 4.5 by 9. A piece that measures 8 by 8, and 1 piece that measures 9 by 9. The paper that I'm using for this project comes from Die Cuts with a View, and it is Country Manor. I got this paper pad at Tuesday Morning, and I absolutely love it. It's got some really wonderful, fun little prints in it, and I thought this would be perfect for the project that we're doing today. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to take 2 of the pieces that measure 2 by 6 and reduce them to this. And you guys have seen me do this before, so I am going to take my 2 by 6, and I don't have my ruler with me, so I'm following the grid lines on my mat here. And all I'm going to do is come in 7/8 of an inch on both sides. So you'll come in on this side 7/8 of an inch, and on this side 7/8 of an inch. And then all we're going to do is we will be cutting from here to here. So hopefully you guys can see that mark. We are simply going to angle cut from this mark to this corner. But the easiest way for me to do it now, because I've already cut one, is I'm simply going to lay it down just like this. I'm going to flip it over because I've already got my tape on here, and that tape will want to move. So I am going to lay this down on top of that one, just like that. And I'll come back with my finger blade, and I am just going to remove that excess. So I've got my line started, and now I can come back and just cut it out. You can place this in your paper trimmer if you want. For me, it's just quicker for me just to place one on top of the other. Get my mark going, and then come back with my finger blade and clean that up and remove it. So we'll have these two pieces, and then we'll need to bring in our third piece, and we want to make sure that it still matches end to end, just like this, because this is how we'll be laying it down. So you want to make sure that that third piece of 2x6 still fits with these two pieces. All right, so I have removed the tape from these three pieces, and now I need to bring in my piece that measures 9 by 9, and this will be the outside of my box. So I want to use the flower portion on the outside, so I'm going to flip it over. So I am going to take my center piece, my center spine part, and just place it down, and then I'll take these two pieces and I am going to place them down using about 1/8 of an inch in spacing. And then let's just trim off some of the excess paper. And what my goal is basically just to follow the shape. And then we're going to be left with this. So now what we need to do is we need to go ahead and just stand this up and just start folding it on all of the edges. So we need to fold it following the shape that we have created by laying down that angled chipboard. So once we get our pieces folded down, we're going to need to make a series of cuts, and the easiest way to do it is to take your pieces and lay them on the sides and then fold them at the spine part, and you're going to get a line. And the easiest thing to do is we're not going to go all the way up to the chipboard, but we are going to cut in an angle on both sides of the crease that we created. And then we'll do it on the other side also. So we're just going to fold this over, and then let's just fold like that so that we can get that line, and then we'll come back. Don't go up to the chipboard. We're just going to go on that line and angle cut on both sides of the line. And then what I like to do is go ahead and take it and fold it up, and you can see that some of the paper still wants to come in and cover up the spine. So I just take my finger, make a crease, and wherever that crease is, I cut it off. Okay, so now that we have these middle tabs cut out, we need to go ahead and miter cut. So all I'm going to do is what I normally do when I'm miter cutting. I'll come to the edge, and then I'll flare out. That way I'll have a cut that kind of looks like that, and that way I can fold this over, and it's going to be nice and neat. And then once we have all of our miters done, we've got all of our tabs ready to go, all we need to do at this point is place some glue and get it stuck down. We'll just do this on all of our sections. So I'll come back with my bone folder, I'm going to squeeze that glue through, grab a paper towel, and clean up. And then I'm going to do this on the entire board, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, so I have got all of my edges folded over, and I wanted to show you guys a little trick. So where we made those cuts so that we could fold in on our spine, sometimes you may have a little piece that sticks up like that. If you just take your bone folder and just start running it along that piece and just keep going along that piece and pushing it down, you can get rid of that point that's sticking up. Okay, so now that we have this done, we need to go ahead and do our liner piece. And so the way that we're going to do our liner piece, I'll bring in the 8x8 piece. So I am going to lay this down, come back with my pencil, and I am just going to trace out a rough sketch of the shape. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to do some trimming. And then once you've got your shape traced out, all I'm going to do at this point is come in about 1/8 of an inch and just start removing some of my paper. And I'm going to trace following the shape of this. So I'll lift it up, and then I'll come back down to my down slope here, and I'll stop and I'll turn it. And then I'm going to cut in this way. And this time I'm just going to go all the way to the bottom because I want to remove some of this excess. And you can use your ruler if you want, but because I am on location, I did forget some things, and my ruler was one of them. But I did want to show you guys this little trick that I have been using, and I've simply been using a piece of spare chipboard as a ruler when I really don't trust my ability to get it totally straight. And so I'm laying down a medium weight piece of chipboard and basically just using that as my guide to trim out. So sometimes we have to improvise, but it all works out in the end. So I'm going to put that away because I just wanted to show you guys. And now I'll come back and just trust my ability to be able to cut straight. Okay, so now that I have a generic shape cut out, I am going to take it and place it down on here to see how well it fits and to see if I need to remove any. And I think that I need to remove just a little bit. So this time I am going to use this little fake ruler here. Trim off a little bit there. I'm going to trim off just a little bit here. And now I'll come back and just trim down a little bit of this. And then I am going to take off just a little bit here. And let's see what we have. So now when we put it down, we have got a much better fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place tape all over this board, and then I'll come back and we'll put down the liner piece. All right, guys, so I have my tape all over this board so you can see the sheen. And now what I need to do is bring in this liner piece, bring in my glue, and I am going to place glue along the edges of my liner. We'll get this stuck down, and we will move on to the next part of the process. Okay, so I have my glue on this piece. Let's take this, put it down, try to get it nice and even and centered. I'll come back with my paper towel first, bring in my bone folder, and really work that glue in along the edges. And now we're going to just make sure we've got our spine nice and down flat. We don't want any curls or humps where the spine is, and by curls or humps, you can see where that paper is not all the way down. So all I'm going to do is come back and really force that glue in, because although we will never have perfection, we can get as close as we can. So this is my shell, and it is good to go. So now I'll bring in my piece that measures 8 3/4 by 4 1/2, and I'm simply going to fold this in half. And I scored it to make the folding just a little bit easier. And I am going to bring in my 2 1/7/8 inch piece. So all I'm going to do, guys, is take my 2 by 1 7/8 inch piece, place it up to the score mark here, and just get it as close to the edge as I can. And this is the first piece that I want to lay down. And then I'll lay it down like this. Come back with my piece that measures 2 by 4. I am going to place that down using about 1/8 of an inch in spacing, but making sure that I've got it butted up against the score mark. Just like that. And then I'll bring in my third one and do the same thing. So I gave myself some excess paper to play with because I'm going to trim off the portions that I don't need. So now I'm going to come back and just trim off and try to keep it as straight as I can. And then I'll go along the bottom here because I'm going to fold this over. So I'm going to go along the bottom and remove all of this excess paper. So now I'll place tape on this and I'll be right back. All right, so now that I have my tape on this, all I need to do is bring over this, get it stuck down, use my bone folder to smooth everything out, and stand it up and go across the top. And then I'll take my bone folder and get my spines defined. And now you can see I have got the body part of this box. So all we're going to do is take this body part here, position it in our box wherever you want yours to be, and we're going to glue it down. We are going to put glue on the bottom. Don't put as much as I just did. Came out pretty quick there. But I do want to get a nice coating of glue. And then I'm also going to go ahead and put glue on my raw edges of the side. So all we're doing is placing glue on all of the raw edges of this chipboard. And I'm going to bring in that first one just to kind of stabilize the back of this. And I'm going to set that down just like that. And then I'll start shaping it the way that I want it. Now let's make sure that we're using a fast drying glue. I use reptile glue and it dries pretty quick. So I'm just going to hold this for a moment, and you can see how I'm pressing down and holding up the back at the same time because I want the whole body to have pressure so that it connects with the shell of this box. So I'll hold this until it's dry enough to set out on its own, and then I'll be right back. All right, guys, so my box is put together, but it still needs to dry some, so I'm not going to open it all the way. But I do want to go ahead and finish off the decorations of it. So I have my piece that measures 3 1/2 by 2, and all I'm going to do is kind of fold it into thirds. And then I'll use my glue just to lay this down and close it. And then I'll use my bone folder just to push that glue through my little flap here. So now I've got my closure for this, and all I'm going to do is put it down wherever I want it just to see how it's going to look. And now I'll use my glue place my glue on this and make this a permanent stick. So let's just put it down. All right, guys, so I went ahead and added my Velcro dot, and my glue is still drying because I did put it on just a little bit thick so that everything would hold into place. And so I think I'm going to decorate this flap just as I did this one. And I found these wonderful Dollar Tree gems in the craft section of the Dollar Tree here where I am. And I thought they would be fabulous on some of my projects. So I did buy a couple of sheets because I'd never seen them at my local Dollar Tree. So I was really, really happy to be able to find these. So all I'm doing is placing them down just like this. And this one is still in the process of drying, but I wanted to bring it in and show you guys just how cute these really are. Again, they measure 2 inches high, 2 inches deep, 6 inches wide. So these are some really sweet little boxes to be able to put trinkets in, put candy in, and let the person use it later to put whatever they want in it. They really are that fun and that simple to make. And I am going to be showing you guys in later videos how we can take this same concept and make these boxes even bigger and taller. And like I said earlier in the video, no more box buying. We make our own. That's what we do. So when you see a box in the store, keep walking because you can make it. So guys, I hope that you've liked this project. And if you have, please hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, I would love to have you join my online crafting family. You guys, have a wonderful day. Happy crafting. And